I would like you to introduce a box. So we see here this box is square, it's nice, has a beautiful background. And then we have a moving box. So can we see the difference between the box and the moving box? Does any one of you here knows the main difference between the box and the moving box? Anyone? Actually, the main difference in between the box and the moving box is that we tend to identify first everything that moves against something that doesn't move. Hi everyone, my name is Carlos Valverde, and I'm going to talk about motion animation web design. So here we have the QR code if you want to make some questions afterwards during the Q&A session. And before anything, I would like to introduce you the web design team. So I'm part of the PS web design team here in Odoo. We are an international team made of different professionals coming from different backgrounds, such as design, web development, and business analysts. Our main office is based here in Belgium, in Louvain-la-Neuve, but we also have offices in Hong Kong, Mexico City, Dubai, and now in Gandhinagar, India. So if you want to have a look into our latest projects, I invite you to check out our brand new website, which is design.odoo.com. So motion and animation. What do we understand as motion and animation? First thing is motion. Motion is actually, we understand as motion the change of position of an object in a given time. But how could we apply this topic, this idea of motion in web design and more specifically in Odoo? So far I have identified 4 motion elements that they could be applied in Odoo, which are videos, GIFs, animated shapes, and storytelling. So let's going to see one of those in detail by now. So the first of all of those elements are videos. Videos, they could be either background elements or inner elements. They are videos that they come from YouTube, Vimeo, Dailymotion, or Youku. So let's see this in context. So I've got a client whose name is Pizza Bella. Pizza Bella is it's a fancy pizzeria here in the city. So they want to add they want to revamp their current website. So by now they have a design like this, and we are going to revamp it using motion animation techniques. So the first element are videos here as background. So we use this one here, we apply one video here, and that's it. Boom. Then if we want to add an inner video, it will be as easy as drag and drop, and that's it. We have the video here. The second element are GIFs. GIFs, what is a GIF? Actually, a GIF is an image in motion. So whenever we use GIFs, it's the same logic behind as we will use a regular image. So let's going to add a GIF here. I'm going to take out this video here. And what if we change this Pizza Bella mascot by an animated version of that? So now we have a GIF. But maybe that's not enough. Maybe Odoo has a very cool feature, which is the grid mode, and we can play with opacity. We can play with overlapping elements using images. So, for instance, I duplicate the column. I change this to a GIF that I will put in the background. I will move it a little bit here. And if I duplicate this one here, I change this one, this one, I put another GIF here, and I will put it here, and I will have a cool magical finger effect. All right, the next motion element are shapes. So shapes is a very cool feature introduced some editions ago in Odoo. So someone of you may already know those background shapes, but we have some shapes with an A tag on those. So whenever we hover on those shapes, we will see that A means animated. So we have shapes either for backgrounds or for images. So let's have a look to those. So now we have here, this is the icon of shapes. So I'm going to put this one here. I'm going to change the color. Okay. And let's going to put another shape, an animated shape for an image. For instance, this one here. All right. We can change either the speed of the animation or we can change the color. All right. And the next element is not a technical element, but rather is a conceptual element. This is storytelling. Storytelling means it's an invitation for you to think on your website as a story that evolves whenever you scroll. So that means that you should be logical whenever you put the content in the website. So have an example here, for instance, to the Mario thing. Mario is a guy that finds a mushroom, takes the mushroom, and becomes Super Mario. So this thing could be extended here to the website. But during our practical case, we will have a deeper look into this storytelling thing, on how could we improve the website in terms of storytelling. The next element is animation. So we just talk about motion, but what we understand as animation. Animation is actually everything modified through Odoo's animation feature, plain and simple. How could we identify those animation elements? It's actually whenever we click on an element that could be animated, we will see this animate icon. So we have the animation topic it could be very complex, but by now I have identified another 4 elements that I would like to talk about, which are animated elements, types of animations, animation effects, and animation direction. So we will see that animations, we have animation only for columns, text, and images. Let's have a look here. For instance, if I select this text here, this Bella text here, then I will see this icon here, animate. If I click here, now this element can be animated. The same thing here, this element, if we have a look into this guy here, this is the column, and then we have the possibility to have animations here. So I'm going to add another animation. And the third elements are regular images, which we can only apply one kind of animation, or one specific kind of animation, which are animation on hover, added to the 2 other kind of animations that we will talk about there. So this next point is types of animation, as I said before. And now we have 3 kinds. There are animations on appearance, animations on scroll, and animations on hover. Actually, animations on appearance and animations on scroll, they are in a way similar, but they are different. Meaning that an animation on appearance those are animations that can be triggered either once or every time. While animations on scroll, they are triggered whenever we scroll through that section. Animations on scroll, on hover, are animations only applied to images, and we trigger those whenever we hover with the mouse on those images. For instance, this is an animation on hover. But what if we animate this column? We apply an animation on scroll, for instance, effect slide. Now, whenever we scroll, we have this guy moving. And then if we animate this guy, for instance, this column, we have an animation on appearance, and this is going to appear only once, like here in trigger, first time only. So this is going to appear only once. But if we apply the effect to every time, so now whenever we see this, it's going to be, animated there. All right. Effects, animation effects. We have a very extensive list of animation effects. We can see fade, slice, bounce, rotate, etc. So for instance, we can see here those lists, this list, fade, slide, bounce, rotate, zoom out, zoom in, flash, etc. So my advice here is try not to reinvent the wheel, meaning that usually we only tend to focus into two kinds of animations. We are two kinds of animation effects, which are either fade or slide. The last point here to talk is the direction. For some kind of animations, we have directions to apply to those. For instance, a fading animation, the element can fade either in place, meaning that it's going to stay in the right place every time, but it can be applied from right, from left, from bottom, or from top. And why would we use an animation direction effect? For instance, you may want to use a fading effect, but you want to give a little bit more of dynamism to that. So direction here is a good strategy. For instance, this guy, if we apply an intensity, let's set a very subtle intensity like of 10, then maybe it's too much, maybe 1. So we realize that the element fades in using a little bit of a dynamic effect, which is very visually appealing. Why should we care about motion and animation? We should care about motion and animation because a relation between time, experience, and conversion rate. You remember the example of the box and the moving box? The conclusion is that everything that moves, we tend to identify it first. So I want you to think on something that we call the 15-second rule. The 15-second rule means that more than half of every visitor spend less than 15 seconds visiting the website. So that means that you have 15 seconds to retain the visitors in the website. So if we see, again, this example, if we use motion animation techniques here, means that we could use those techniques to retain the visitors, which at the same time means that we're retaining the visitors because visitors are satisfied, and that results into improved conversion rate. So let's go into see the practical case. So by now, we have briefly seen some motion animation techniques here, but let's revamp properly the website. So first, this video here, I'm going to take it out because maybe it's not that nice in this context. And instead of I'm going to use a better video here in the button, so I will use this video, which is a properly curated video here. All right, then this animation shape. Personally, for this example, maybe I wouldn't use those animation shapes. Why? Because here we have a lot of animated elements here in the main section. So the idea here will be being subtle. So maybe I will use a different shape, like this one. I will flip it either vertically, both vertically and horizontally, and then I will take out this color. Remember that to take out colors in the shapes, we have to make them invisible. All right. So then we just seen videos, we just seen GIFs. GIFs, I'm going to use the same GIFs as we used before in the previous example. Then animated shapes, we are going to use this animated background shape, and we are going to increase the speed for the animated shape. About the storytelling. The storytelling here, what I see is, okay, I have an introduction of this element, then I would like to give more details about this element. Instead of that, I have introduction, then the call to action, and then this description of the product. Personally, I will put this element before, and if I see some details about the description of the product, I will see here like 4 columns telling a story about how was this product being done. And I see things that maybe they are not very logical. So I will take this shape out. I will put this element here. I will move this element also to the last point, and I will change this image because it doesn't seem very logic here. I will put this image and I will transform it using a square proportion. All right. And finally, I will change the numbers in order to be logical. That's it. Now, if I will be applying animations here, so first I see a text, an animation applied for this text, okay. So I will put an animation fade from button, all right. From one direction, half a second, okay. And I will do the same for this area too. Why? Because it's highlighted, meaning that it has a different color, and I want to emphasize this point too. So effect fade in is going to fade in from bottom, intensity 1, direction the same as before, half a second, and it's going to start a little bit after than the previous one. All right. For this element, we are going to fade, to apply this animation of fade is the same, and it's going to start a little bit later than the previous one. All right. We apply the same to the columns in the background. Okay, the same duration, half a second, and it's going to start half a second. Why? Because it has to be linked to this moving image. So we do the same, and maybe for this element, it's going to start a little bit later. So in appearance, half a second, and it's going to be 1.75. Okay. And finally, let's add animation on scroll here. So animations on scroll, going to be slide, going to slide from button. All of them, they are going to slide from button. So on scroll, let slide from button. And we do the same for everyone here. Button, and the same, let slide from scroll from button. And that's it. And we can add a very cool, wait, this is not, okay, on scroll, slide from button. And if we play with intensities here, we can do also very cool effect. For instance, let's going to add, this one has an intensity of 1, this 25, this 50, and this one is going to be 75. So this way we could create a very cool chain reaction effect. And as we can see, it's this effect here. So we save it. And now we can tell our client like, hey, your website design is already revamped. And that's it. Do's and don'ts. For this purpose, the Pizza Bella previous web designer has made another website. So he really had a very good time, as you can see, designing the website, but he got fired. So that's why now we had to revamp it. So first thing here that we can see is that first, don't use lengthy and heavy videos, especially if we use them for the background. Why? The more of the videos that we will be using here, it will cause an impact on the performance of the website. So my suggestion here is not to use many videos there, but if you need to put videos, just use less than 5-second videos and use lightweight videos. The second element, the second don't, is don't be excessive. This is too much. All right. So my suggestion here is find a balance. The point here is, okay, how could we find a balance? My suggestion here is, if you think, or if you have the feeling that you are doing something that maybe could be excessive, that's a red flag. But if you see the website and then you might think that maybe this is not enough, that's another red flag. So find the balance in between not being enough and being excessive. The third point, don't be random. Okay, we see this, okay, this is related to pizza, okay. For instance, we can see about the details of the products, but the question here is this actually connected to the idea of the client? Is it actually connected to the final product? If the answer is no, maybe here we are doing something bad. So my suggestion here is, of course, follow a storyline. And the last don't, pay attention to mobile devices. For instance, whenever we play with overlapped elements, we have to pay attention to mobiles. How could we see how it's going to be seen on mobiles? We have this icon here, which is the mobile preview. Whenever we click on that, we can see how it's going to be the website on mobile. Right? So the same goes for this element here. We have used nice overlapped elements, but this is going to cause conflicts in mobile. So my conclusion here is readapt your design if needed. Actually, I will suggest you to visit the next talk from my colleague Sam, which is here, which is going to talk about mobile design. Thank you. So if you have any questions, here is the QR code of this talk. So don't hesitate to add questions, and I will try to answer them.
No, we still don't have any question at the time. So leave a bit of time for people to write it. And I'm making sure that I don't have the wrong pad at the same time. So first, it's not a question. People says that they want pizza.
Okay. Yeah, me too. Maybe because it's Friday, right?
Probably. Someone says that it's not. They didn't think it was clear for the intensity of the animation.
Okay.
They're asking if you can re-explain what you do to the image.
Okay. Actually, it's a very good question. So whenever we apply an animation, especially if we use directions, we have the option to play with intensity. So this is the, for instance, in order to see it like very clear, I'm going to change the trigger effect here to every time. So whenever I see here, it's going to trigger the animation. So an animation, intensity is how powerful the animation is. For instance, an animation of 100 intensity here, be like that. It's too much. By default, every animation comes with an intensity of 50, okay? But here, to create a fading effect with with a displacement, with a direction, I always suggest to be subtle here, to use something between 1 to 10. So 10 is okay, is fading in with a flop, with an effect, and if we use an intensity of 1, maybe it's very subtle. Maybe you are more focused on the guy fading in, but not the guy fading in with the movement from below. The same thing goes for animations on scroll.
To speed a bit.
Sorry?
We slowly starts to run a bit out of time. So maybe if people have some more questions, they can find you at the booth.
Yes. You can. Don't hesitate to come to talk to me afterwards. I will be in the website booth.
Okay, nice. Then I think we're done. Thank you for presenting, and have a nice day.
Sorry?
And have a nice day.
Yeah, have a nice day. Thank you very much.